Okay, somebody created cubes. Very good. So I will straight away go to rows and columns if no more questions in any other tabs. Okay. So by default, unless until you share rows and columns, system will bring in one column and one row, because without one column and one row, you will not get any table format, isn't it? Okay. And whereas if you would have shared any rows and columns in the general settings, then system will not have any rows and columns on this specific cube view. Okay. You need not to have a rows and columns on each and every cube view. Rather, you can share it also. That's we have seen yesterday, right? If you share entire columns or entire rows, then system will delete this row also. Okay, system only will automatically delete it. Whereas if you want to specifically share few rows or few columns, then system will allow you to add a rows as well. Okay, so that is where by default one row, one column will be added when you create a new cube view. Okay, and the row name will comes with the row 1 and column name will comes with the column 1. Okay, however, we can also rename it. Yesterday I also told that what is the purpose of renaming it. Okay, the only purpose of renaming is we can use these names while making any row wise or column wise mathematical expressions within the cube view. We can perform, let's say, row 1 plus row 2 equals to row 3, or column 1 plus column 2 equals to column 3. Sometimes you may calculate variances, right? Actual minus budget equals to variance. So let's say my column 1 is an actual, my column 1 has a budget. So I can create a column 3 with a mathematical expression a minus b equals to c. Column 1 minus column 2 equals to variance. Okay, I can call like that. So that purpose we use these labels. Otherwise these labels normally will not help us. Okay, unless until we use any mathematical expressions. Okay, so we have a buttons to add a rows if you want multiple rows and multiple columns here. Okay, so based on the cursor, so right now my cursor is on column 1, that's where you see add column. If my cursor is on row, and it will automatically shift it to add row. Okay, you can add n number of like this, so it will automatically gets added. And whenever you insert any blank row or a new row, it automatically takes the dimension intersection from an existing row. Okay, let's say here we have a net income. You see, even this row 6 also having the net income dot trade dissonance. Okay, because we inserted row 2 first, and then row 2 will take a precedence of a row 1, and then row 3 later it took the reference from row 2, and then row 4 will take a reference from row 3. Likewise, it will take a prior row, any existing row reference, and copies the same POV. Okay, so same dimension intersection. Clear? I will just delete it for the time being. We will add it one more time. But let us see how to select the dimension intersection here. Okay. So remember yesterday we talked about certain front end dimensions, certain back end dimensions. Okay. So we added a period here as a front end and my account as a back end, isn't it? The same way I have added here. Okay. And time is 2021 January. So here we have loaded only for 2022. That's where we have added here. And remember, before placing a dimension, you need to choose the dimension type here. Okay. And this is my time dimension. Unless let's say if I place here as an account and then place a time dimension, system will throw out an error message. So both should type. So by mistake, sometimes we do manual mistakes. Here I'll place a scenario or some other dimension, and here I will place the member name as a time dimension. Okay, so both should type. So the dimension type and the member type both should be from a same dimension. Okay, and let's say if I wanted to select multiple, you can type the members in this white box. If you know exactly the member, sometimes you don't know, right? You can go here and there is a member filter builder option is there, button is there. So click on it. So this is your member filter option. Lot of options are there here. Okay, so let me explain you. In the left hand side we have all the dimension icons, so with a first name as their tags. So these are all the dimension tags basically. Okay, we use these tags in multiple places, even the business rules, even in the cube views, and wherever we wanted to choose the point of view, we use these dimension tags only. Okay, And let's say if I wanted to place another dimension member here, another time dimension member, so click on time here, and you will get a time dimension members in a separate pop-up, and you can expand it, all of them, or else you can also type it. Okay, sometimes what will happen, so forget about time, let's say I have an entity. Okay, and sometimes you may not be seeing a correct members here. The reason because dimension type is entity but dimension name is different. So sometimes the cursor may go into a different dimension. Okay, so right now it is going into entity GB, but my dimension is entity total, not entity GB. So you need to point it to the right dimension. Okay, then only you will get the list of the members. So don't get confused. If you are not seeing the members what you are looking, so just change the dimension or look at the dimension whether the dimension is pointing to right place or not. Okay, so if it is pointing to right place, then obviously you will get the complete list of the members. Okay, and we have a hierarchy and we have a search field also here, and you can even maximize this window, need not to keep it as a small. Okay, I can maximize to full screen and search the members. Let's say Bangalore, you can search with any name or description, anything, it will display where it is exactly. Okay, and if you want to go to the hierarchy directly rather than selecting it, you can select either by clicking to this button, and or else view in the hierarchy, it will take you to that hierarchy. Okay, and then double click, or double click is not working, ideally I thought it is working. Okay, so just select it, and you can control, you can use the control button to select multiple also here like this. Okay, remember. Okay, if I wanted to select all of them, you can control like this. Okay, and that's where once you press OK, then system will automatically add this dimension to the filter. Okay, so let me select here as a time dimension. We have already placed 2022 M1, and I wanted to place few more dimensions because it's a front-end dimension. This will allow us to select multiple. Remember yesterday we talked about that concept, front-end back-end concept, right? So you can type the member names also. Let's say I can type t hash 2022 M4. Okay, likewise you can put a comma separator and then type it as well. Okay, you see all the members here. Also you can type it rather than going inside the member filter box. I can type it in the main page itself here. Okay, and at a column level they have given only 2 dimension options to place it. When I say 2 dimension options, okay, so only 2 dimensions can be placed in the column headers as per their design structure. Right here only we are getting time 2 dimension fields. See, level 2 and level 1 dimension fields. Okay, so let's go into the test OSS app. Let me open income statement or balance sheet. Okay, how many dimensions are there in the columns now? 3 dimensions are there. Look at here. First one is time. Second one is view dimension, which is YTD. Third one is a console dimension, which is local. Right? So sometimes even more than 3 also we might have to place it. The headers. It all depends on business. You cannot say, hey, we can only put a 2 dimensions. But however, as per the design of the OneStream structure, they have given only 2 dimensions. I will tell you one more time. This one, for the time being, you assume only 2. Okay, but however, we can place here only we can see 3 dimensions, even more also we can place it. I will tell you how to place more than 2 dimensions in the column headers. Okay, so for the time being, we are only placing 1 dimension now. If we will add one more time, we will come back to this page one more time and then add multiple dimensions. Okay, and then now, so you have seen how to select a members manually, right? I will go to the rows in the same way. In rows, we can place 4 dimension members as a headers. So you can see right now we are placed only account. Okay, so whereas instead of account, I can place like this: account by product or by cost center D0000, D0000, and local data. In this case, what I am trying to do, I am placing account dimension, I am placing cost center dimension, product dimension, and data type dimension. All these 4 dimensions I am placing in the row headers. Okay, so row headers. So that's where here, though we have added one, but maximum as per the design structure, as per the design structure of the OneStream page, 4 dimensions can be placed. However, we have an option to place more than 4 also, the way how we placed here only 2, but however in my existing document there are more than 2 dimensions. We'll talk about it, but right now how to place it. So select a dimension first, what type of dimension members you are placing it, and then I will remove this. It will be blank for the time being, right? So go to the member filter and then go to the respective dimension. If it is account, just click on account dimension and point it to the right account dimension. Okay, so mine is a consolidation accounts, so I will go to the consolidation accounts and then choose whatever the members you want. You can either select manually by pressing control button, multiple can be selected, or else we have a predefined expansion functions which is provided by OneStream itself. Okay, so let's say net income is only one member. If I place only net income, what will happen? Let's see, I will only get a net income in my report, isn't it? You see here, net income is the only report I will be getting it, and we don't have any other members in this report. So now I wanted to add a net income dot hierarchy, complete list of the net income, because net income is ultimate parent there, right? So we have expansion functions for it. So we have a member, which is only the single member. We have a base, which is the base members will come. So if you click on this button, it will automatically get added dot base. Okay, so let's see now what will happen. So when you are practicing, you need to practice like this, one more, one by one, one by one. So you see here, all the net income dot base members is bringing by the system. Okay, and quickly we'll change it. So just highlight this if you want to replace it. So now I wanted to have a children. Press OK, run it. You see here, net income children's are getting. Even net income are also not part of this list now, because for that there is a separate inclusive member is there. Okay, children inclusive, descendants inclusive, tree descendants inclusive. Probably you would have experienced all these kind of functions in Hyperion itself. The same structural functions we also have it here. Okay, so you can see dot children inclusive. When I say inclusive, net income also will come now. Okay, so descendants inclusive, tree descendants inclusive. Okay, so what is the difference between descendants and tree descendants is, descendants will give you the list without any expansion collapse buttons, whereas tree descendants, let's say, let me put it once. So you don't have any option called expand collapse options, or it is displaying in alphabetical order or a sequential order, right? Whatever it is there in the dimension hierarchy. If I put tree descendants inclusive, I can even add it manually like tree. Okay, because both are same. Only tree has getting added here, or else you can just double click and put a tree descendants. Okay, inclusive, and then save. You see now it is coming in a tree structure format. Earlier it was coming in a normal format. Now it is coming in a with indentation. There is indentation called a space. Okay, so net income is coming left extreme side, and then after a space, sales is coming. After a space, children's are getting displayed. So that is called a tree descendants inclusive. And one more is there called only tree. If I put only tree, then you will get a plus and minus symbols also along with the hierarchy. You will expand it. You can collapse it. You can expand it as well. Okay, you can right click and expand all the descendants. It will displace. Okay, and remember, this tree will only work in the rows but not in the columns. When I say tree will give us an option to add these plus or minus symbols, right? However, there was a requirement in our project earlier. So business asked, hey, I wanted to place the departments or cost centers in the rows with expand collapse buttons. Or else they asked in one more project, hey, I want to place the complete year and then wanted to have a plus or minus symbols, so that if I wanted to collapse a particular quarter and then expand a particular quarter, I wanted to see only the data for that specific quarter. But you cannot add a plus or minus symbols. Even we also raised a bug with OneStream. But remember, sometimes if they ask in the interviews or something, so expand collapse buttons will not work in the columns, okay, right now. So even if you add also, it will not work. System will take in consideration, let's say 2022.3. I will put it like this, okay, and save it. What will happen? It will get added all your years, but there is no plus or minus symbols. You see here, it is getting added all your complete 2022 structure. 2022, and then half one, H1, and then quarter one, Jan, Feb, March, quarter two, April, May, June, like this. But user was requested, hey, I want to have a plus or minus symbols so that all the prior quarters I can minimize it, and then only the current quarter I can be maximize it, expand it. But that didn't work. Okay, so there is a bug also for it. OneStream has recognized it, and they will work, and then probably in the next versions they will let us know. Okay, what I mean to say here is expands collapse buttons will only work in rows but not in columns. So I will put for the time being as M1 comma T hash M2 M3. Okay, so if I want to place multiple dimensions, then how to, let's see. So you are okay with it now, right? I will put only dot children now. Or if you want to have both of them, even net income also I wanted to have it. Okay, you put a children inclusive one way, or else you can put like this. Multiple members can be can be placed within the same row itself. Okay, when I say multiple members, here I am selecting net income as one member and net income dot children as another member. So both can be placed by putting a comma separator multiple members rather than inserting. Normally, what do we think? Let's say if business asked you to place a 10 members here, okay? So we insert 10 rows and unnecessarily each member have to be placed in each row. No, not needed. You can just insert a single row and then place all your 10 members within the same row itself. System will automatically bring and separate them in the cube view. Okay, let's run it. You see here, net income is coming and then children is also coming. Okay, what I mean to say here is you don't have to insert multiple rows unnecessarily, or else even if you insert also there's no harm. Let's say here the row 1, okay, I will place only net income. In the row 2, I will place only dot children. Okay, both will remain same. There's no change in it. The design, you see, look at the rows, net income followed by its children. But it's a time waste unnecessarily, I'm telling. Okay, so that is a time waste for you, because if we have let's say 100 rows or 200 rows, we will end up adding, and then formatting settings also we have to do multiple times for individual row wise, right? Sometimes, so that will be time consuming activity. Rather, you can, what I can do, I can just delete this row and then place it here itself multiple. Okay, same thing will apply. And then let's say we wanted to place another dimension on the rows or columns. Okay, so select, let's say I wanted to place it a UD1 departments. Go and select the members, UD1, and I wanted to see where is the D00. We have data only for one department in this training instance. Okay, don't get confused. I will be only placing this one, but normally you wanted to see all departments or sales departments data for individual account. So you will normally place all of them here. Okay, you will normally place all of them here. But in this case, what I am trying to do, we have only data for loaded for only one cost center. I will place it for the sake of understanding. So you can place even this UD2 dimension as a product. Okay, U2 hash, because that is the only product we have the data. So you can place like this multiple. Okay, and let's see how it will form in the cube now. You see here, so three headers, row headers came automatically. One is called account, one is called cost center, and third one is called the product. Okay, and if you have multiple, so you have anyway automatically system is getting added plus or minus symbols, so that will automatically come. So let's say if I add a here sales dot base, okay, because sales is one of the department in this UD1 and it has some base members, isn't right? So that we will be getting added, and let's see. So you will automatically gets like this. Okay, it will help us to expand and see the data. Okay, and when we have multiple dimensions in the rows, automatically multiple search boxes is also creating. Look at there, multiple search boxes. First box will help us to search the account dimension members. Let's say if I have OTHERS, click on this, it will take you directly cursor to that member. Okay, and if I wanted to search this one with only consumer, okay, search it, it will take you to that member. Okay, and if you wanted to search P00, anyway only one member we placed it, so everywhere P0000, no point in searching. Okay, but that will give us a flexibility. When we have hundreds or thousands of rows, we can search it also. Clear? Okay, so now, okay, so let me place multiple dimensions, even the columns also. Okay, I will tell you quickly on that. So for the time being, I will place one row and then add a different rows, and each member we will create it separate rows. Okay, so M1 in one row, and here also M2 in a separate row, and I will create one more in M3 separate row. Will place it. You can place all of them in a single row, or else if you want to place separate all of them in a single column, or you can also place them into a different columns. That's what we have seen already, right? So here I split it into multiple columns now. So you can combine the multiple intersection here by putting a colon separator. Okay, let's say s hash actual type. Though the dimension header is a time, okay, only the first member should be time in this case, because your dimension header is a time, first member must be the time, and then after that you can combine multiple other dimensions also. So if your column 1 should display only actual data, then put another filter called s hash actual. Okay, and go to the column 2, and I wanted to have a budget data also. Okay, then put a s hash budget here, and then here it's also budget only, assume that. Okay, s hash budget, and then save it. We have utilized only single filter now, dimension filter. We have not yet touched the second one. Okay, however, system will bring in 2 dimension column headers now. Oh, okay, wait, I will tell you. Let me place the second one as a filter here. Okay, so one column we placed a time and scenario. Okay, and second column, in second column we placed the time, and we wanted to display another dimension, right? V hash ytd. And third column, let's say time, and we wanted to place origin dimension or something. Okay, or data type dimension, which is called ud3. I will select a member called local data. So what we are trying to do is, we are using the same 2 dimension filters only, but we are changing the dimensions. In column 1 we place time and scenario, in column 2 we place time and view, and in column 3 we place time and ud3. So all together, how many dimensions will display? 4 dimensions will display in your columns headers. One is called commonly time, and second one is scenario. In the column 2 we have added view, so that will also get added as a third column header, and fourth one is the ud3. Let me save this and run it once. You should be able to see 4 headers now. You see here? Okay, 4 headers: January, actual, ytd, car rpt, but however we have added local data only for that third one, so it is displaying local data. So in that way we can add multiple dimensions to the same column headers. Okay, so though the column headers have been given only with 2 member filters. But if I wanted to place multiple dimensions, you can use this 2 filters itself, but you can just change the dimension filters. Okay, in one column you just place time scenario, in another column you just place time in view. Likewise, you can place even all the dimensions also. Okay, hope you understand, or any confusion is there? I don't know what is the logic. They have given only 2 dimension filters in the column headers, but technically speaking, if we will also have certain times more than 2 column headers. Okay, so 2 column headers are required. So in that case, we will use this approach. Okay, so OneStream only has suggested this approach. So you go with this, and then system will get automatically. And let's say my column 3 is local data. However, I have not fixed anything in the column 1 for this UD3 dimension. So that's where it is getting a corp RPT, which is a top level member. Okay, and if I wanted to see only local data, even here also in this column 1 also I should see local data. So here what I can do in this case is put a colon and then put define u3 hash local data. Okay, you can put like this. In the time dimension also we can restrict those, so system will automatically displays only for the local data. You see here also local data can be displayed. Hope I'm not confusing you guys. I'll give it a minute, and then for any questions you have, let me know. Is it good everything right now?
Yeah. So is there any shortcut key from Data Explorer page to CubeViews? So like work with templates, as we have seen, right? So there is an icon, so we can switch on the same page.
Here from here to here, huh?
Yes,
No,
Data Explorer.
There's the only shortcut, this one. Just run it. Open
No,
Data Explorer.
what I'm talking is, so we are in Data Explorer page. So there itself, if we click anything, any shortcut key.
Here it is. Edit CubeView.
Okay. So if we click on it, it will redirect us to CubeViews.
It will go to the CubeViews.
Okay, got it.
Edit option will be there.
Yeah, and one more thing. So do we have any hidden concept columns, hide concepts there?
We'll come to that. Yes, absolutely, we can hide it. Okay, so somewhere in the formatting, hide column is there. Let's say cell format or header format. Somewhere we have an option. Let's say cell format. Just let me format is visible. Somewhere you can see. Did you see any property called is column visible? Put a false. Okay. So then that will be if I put a false, it will not visible. Okay.
So yep.
It is there in the formatting tab of individual columns or individual rows also.
Okay.
We'll come to that anyway, so don't go too much. So as of now, is there any questions? What we have discussed?
I don't have. I'm clear. I'm good.
See, you will not get all these even if you read in the document also. That's where, based on the experience, I'm telling you, okay? Because system will not give us all these in the documentation. The Hyperion is 1,000 times better in the documentation when we compare with OneStream. Okay, remember always they have to improve a lot in the documentation side. Okay, in OneStream. So yeah, somebody was unmuted.
Yeah. See, in HFM we have the form calculation. Do we have anything like this calculation?
Yes, that's what I've told you, right? Mathematical expressions. We will do it now. Okay, today only we'll finish it up. So wait for some time. You will 100% understand that concept. Okay, we have it. So next will be that is the concept only we are talking about. But first we are talking about how to place a member filters with the different options. Okay. So now, okay. So you're familiar now. So I will just leave all of them and then remove it. Okay. And let's say by mistake, if you delete a member, but if you don't delete this dimension header, system will again gets that default members. Okay, gets that default members in it. Remember, so you need to even remove the header tabs also. Put a not used and then put a not used. Then only the headers will get removed from your QBU. Okay, see here only account is getting displayed. Okay, and I will also delete this one. And now what will happen? Children, I will put children inclusive. Save. Okay, so children inclusive, you're getting net income at the top followed by children's, right? You can see the indentation also. Net income is coming left side, and then after a single space the children's are getting displayed. So sometimes business will ask you, hey, I want to display the net income at the bottom in the reverse order. Normally, so what, how the income statement will be created? It will create like a sales, and then expenditures, and then income before tax, and then income after tax, right? And then finally your net revenue or net income will be generated, isn't it? So in this case it will be bottom, but here we have assumed at the top, right? So we have a reverse order functions also. Okay, so you don't have to place it manually. Normally what we assume that if there is any such requirement, we'll have to end up creating individual rows for individual members. Okay, when I say individual rows and for individual members, the children's whatever we have separate like sales, income before tax, income after tax, others, you can place in such a way, and then finally you can place the last row as a net income row. That is the manual approach. Rather than that, OneStream has a different options. Okay, put a R at the end of this function. Put a R at the end of this function. Okay, save it and run it. It will automatically reverse it. When I say reverse, the children will come first, followed by the parent. Okay, even everywhere also that function we can, let's say base, I have used it. Okay, save. Let's say base R can be used or not. Okay. Base inclusive function is not there. So children descendants. Okay, even descendants also children will not, I mean net income will not come. Okay, let's see what all the reverse functions are there. Okay, here only you can see there is a function, there is a tab called member expansion, right? In this one. So other than the standard member expansion functions, okay, these are like standard, we commonly use it. Other than the standard member expansion functions, we do have a member expansion tab here. So wherein we can use multiple other functions also. These are all the OneStream out of box functions. Okay, so children inclusive, just now we have used children inclusive R, which displays my members in a reverse order. Okay, so likewise tree descendant, trees inclusive R also we can use it. Okay, let's say if I use, what will happen without okay, without R, what will happen? Tree descendants inclusive, it will display like this, isn't it? If I put R at the bottom, then it will display reverse order, so net income will go down and then display it. Okay, you see at the bottom net income would be there, it came down. Okay, so we can reverse that order also. Okay, we can reverse that order also. So that's how the reverse order functions will work. We can use that kind of a reverse order functions also. And also what will happen, let's say I wanted to display children's. Okay, let me go back to the children inclusive again. Children inclusive, we have a certain list here, but however I don't want to display income tax member for some reason, whatever the reason, don't ask why. Okay, for so and so reason, for certain members I wanted to drop from the parent or from the list, because this is a member list, right? We are using children inclusive. Okay, we use dot remove function. We use dot remove function. There is a dot remove, double click, and then in the bracket give I, what is the member name? INC tax, it seems. Okay, so you need to give like this, INC tax, not IN tax, INC tax, INC tax, yes. Okay, so I have added with the dot remove function. Save it and then run this QB once. You see here INC tax is not getting displayed. So normally in a Hyperion, if you wanted to create any customized member filters, you have to write, and you have to end up writing some kind of a business rules or something. In a HFM, we used to write a member list, right, with a big script to create our own members. But here we don't have such a concept. We will simply, I mean, there is a concept, even write, you can write a business rule to create a member list also, but we will never write it. Okay, because we can easily have so many other out of box functions to manage them. Okay, let's say if I wanted to drop another member, put a comma. Okay, so I wanted to drop others also, though there is no data, so we can have a suppression options to hide the data, blank records, but that's a different story. Assume that there is a data, but however I don't want to add in my QBU. Okay, OTHERS, I can put it here with a comma separator, OTHERS. You can place as many as members like this. You see here, OTHERS also got removed from this list of the rows. Okay, so we have a dot remove, and the other way we can keep dot keep also. Okay, out of this list we only remove these members. Now we can use the other members like dot keep also. There is a dot keep members. Okay, so instead of putting dot remove, I can put dot keep, and only I can mention required members in this case. Okay, so whatever the members you wanted to place, you need to type it here. Okay, so that way also we can, or else there's one more function. Okay, so net income dot list of, okay, and then type all the required members. Let's say I want to keep inc tax comma OTHERS others. I want to only list only these two. Okay, so save and then run it. You see, only those two will come. There are plenty of functions is there to manage your filters. Okay, so I'm not going each and every one because of running out of time. Okay, so explore all of them. Okay, so mostly we use dot keep, dot remove, where I can use dot where clause also. Okay, let's say where base, where dot where, not where name starts with. So if you want to know the exact the term, whether with space or without space between the starts and then with character, so in your training files folder I have given you okay, CV cell syntaxes, QBU cell syntaxes, one type of text document I placed it. You have it in your training files. Okay, so I will refer this document now to explain you what all the other ways we can call the members. You see here starts with, there is no space. Okay, I will use that word starts with, let's say 7. I want to bring all the base members which are starting with 7 character for so and so reason. Okay, save it and then run it. You see all of them only with a 7 character. Do we have any other characters? Yes, absolutely. If I remove that dot where class, then you will understand. Okay, what all there. You see here, first member itself is a 7 sales, which is textual, and there are some members which are starting with 1 2 3, and then you see there are a few members which are starting with 4 5. All type of series are there, isn't it? But here, if you putting a filter there, I want to display only the members which are starting with a 7 series. You can see only members which are starting with 7 is displayed. Okay, and contains, we can use this also, name contains. Okay, where name contains so and so. So starts means at the beginning. Even I can put ends with also. Remember, we can put ends with so and so character. Okay, ends with the, let's say 00. You can need not to put a single character. I can put 00, multiple things I can put it. Okay, ends with 00. So these are the members which are ending with 00. Okay, so and then contains 79. you see certain members, even the last member 5179 in between, somewhere it has a 79 in between, right? Not starts with, not ends with. So likewise we can use the contains also. So lot of user friendly member filters has given by the OneStream for us to make your list of the rows. Okay, that is where the purpose of this document. Okay, and then text one OPE. Let's say some of the member properties, while creating the metadata, you would have given some member properties, right? So that also can be used as your filters. Okay, so they have given like net income dot base text one equals to OPE. Okay, so let me put that, save it. You see here, is this the only lit? How do we know? Can anybody tell how do we know in the dimension what all members has a text one other than manually searching everything? Can anybody tell? How do
So can
we?
we use grid view to add for
Exactly,
that?
exactly. Okay, so go to the grid view. Grid view is the analysis purpose. Put a member selection, like let's say I want to see name, description, and then go to the text one. Okay, put required properties rather than all the properties, and then I want to see only net income members, right? So you can apply the filters and go to the account, and I want to see only for net income dot tree dissonance inclusive. Okay, I can apply the filters, and then text one OPE. There is a columns will automatically added. So text one, wherever there is OPE, just put a filter. So you will see only these members in your report. So these are the members which has a text one OPE in your income statement under the net income. So that's where you are getting them in the report. Clear? System is very smart enough to bring them, but you need to use that properties very clearly. So I can call the properties also, like account type. I want to display only account type as a revenue or something like that. You can call it. Okay, you can call them in this here. Okay, you see here account type is revenue. Likewise. Okay,
Likewise, also we can call is IC, is considered. We have.
exactly. All the properties wherever you want, you can use it.
Okay.
But remember, property name here may be different. Okay, so
Hmm.
let's say sometimes what will happen is, if I go to member properties, let's go one of the member, here you have a type account space type,
Yeah.
but you need to call the table field corresponding to this property, not the
Oh.
description of the property. This is actually description of the property. Table
Hmm.
field in the backend is without space. Okay, that's where account without type without space I am calling it here.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the only concern you only point you need to consider. Okay, you cannot call them as is, like if you have use alternative input space, currency space, in space, flow space, something like that, you cannot write lengthy one. You need to call the backend element or backend. There will be a table field for everything, right? So that you need to call it. Okay, if you want to know how do I know what is the column header for this property in the table. So if I mean in this testing instance, I mean training instance, you don't have option to see the tables, but however if you have a full access in your any project, so you can go to the system tab, and there is a database here. From a front end also we can see the database tables. Probably I have already shown you this couple of times. So here we have a tables. So you can have a member table for account dimension. There you will get to know. Okay. You will have a dimension table here somewhere. These are all the audit tables. Scroll down. Dashboard. All of these are dashboard related. And somewhere you can see these are all the data tables, data record. The data which we are loaded now is 2022. You can see them here. All the data tables will be displayed, data records will be displayed here. Taking time, let's wait for some time. Oh my god, just refresh it. You see here all the table data is getting displayed. Okay, and in the same way member properties, if you want to see, there will be a table for that also. Member
In the
property,
last year.
there is a member property. Okay, so here all the members will get displayed. Member dimension type will have, so dimension, for every dimension also there will be a number. So 0 may be some other dimension. So assume that this is your fifth one is your account dimension. Assume that. Okay, we will get to know what is the fifth dimension, what is the fourth dimension. Also there will be a backend separate table for it. And let's assume that contains or starts with equals to 5. Okay, so you see there will be a property column for every column name for every property. Okay, so the property here is a member ID, but there it will be member name will be there, right? The property name will be member name, not member ID. So something like that, different naming convention will be there. Okay, so remember always, so that you need to call it. Clear? Okay, going back again. Okay, so workflow calculation entities. Okay, this is, we have already seen remove function. Probably you can see we have seen the children's, we have seen the remove one, we have seen the where clauses, we have seen these kind of things. And no workflow. And sometimes what will happen is, so you will prepare an income statement dynamically, and your income statement will be automatically displays the data. Sometimes what will happen is, so we should display the income statement for the entities which are assigned to the workflow. Okay, obviously, right? So if I am in India level, India workflow, I should see the income statement for India entities, right? And if I am at a Australia level, I should see the income statement for Australia entities, right? And you will not create multiple income statements for the same country level. Rather, you will create only one, but however, we will parameterize it to use workflow entities. Okay, so in that case, what I will do is I will just remove these columns. Wait, we don't want, and I will put here as an entity, and then we'll use the tag here. So root dot workflow calculation entities. Okay, so there will be an entities assigned to the workflow, isn't it? So that entities will automatically displays. Okay, let me save it and run this report. Okay, I think India LC is the only one under the calculation. Okay, we call, okay, wait. So we call calculation entities. So if you go to the workflow profile, under the calculation definition, you would have enabled certain entities to run the calculations here, right? This is picking automatically. And if I want to pick the entities which are assigned to my workflow as part of the entity assignment, separate variable is there for it. So these are all the variables. We can see it here itself. Okay, if you go here in the bottom or somewhere, you see workflow calculation, member expansions. I think under the variables we will have it. We have used workflow calculation just now. Rather than that, we can use workflow profile entities also.
Can you select the workflow profile?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Radio button we have, right? Can you select?
Correct. We can filter it. Workflow profile entities. Where is it? WF. It will be in alphabetical order only, I think. WF. Yes, it came. Profile index is there. Profile entities option. Somewhere we can see it. Or else, and see, let me explain you this ones. Member expansion, some functions is there. Time function specific to time, what all functions we can use it, they have given separate tab. And variables, any like a substitution variables, any default OneStream given variables also we can use it. Like yesterday we have used CF QBU entity, QBU description as a headers, right? In your row header and row column header or somewhere, right? So where is that? Here I think I've used. Okay. So what it is bringing is CV entity, QBU entity, whatever the entity you selected in the QBU, that will automatically place as a header. Okay. So where is those variables can be seen is under the rows and columns itself. And if I place this cursor, variables, so we have all the type of variables here, and if I want to filter with only POV variables or workflow variables or global variables or CV variables, we used a CV variable there. You see here CV entity, somewhere you can see it, CV entity. Okay, and then CV entity description also we have used, CV entity description. If you want to know the description of each and every variable for what purpose, under the samples they have given us a theoretical description for each function. Okay, so let's say member expansion function. So how to call it? Dot base, dot descendant, dot trees, dot remove function. So what is this? Remove a list of members from a given expansion and then perform an additional expansion to the list. Okay, items. Example also they have given my member dot children dot remove. My member means whatever the member you selected. Let's say in this case, in our case, we selected net income dot children and then we placed dot remove and then member one to remove, member two to remove. Right? So we have placed multiple. So with examples along with the syntaxes, they have given in the samples tab for all functions. Let's say if I wanted to see time functions. So if I want to call the POV automatically, whatever you placed in the POV tab. So we use t hash POV rather than hard coding the time period. Okay, so likewise all the functions have been given here with a theoretical expression. Okay, if you want to understand, we have it. Okay, so now what I wanted to place it is, let me place it here, the entity with the e hash profile entities. See, there is a function also for it. Not getting. Oh, okay, this is not a member, I'm sorry, this is a variable. I should use the, okay, I'll tell you. Always when we are using a variables, okay, and there is two types of variables again. So system defined variable and user defined variable. So user defined variables can be called it as a parameters. Okay, so that also we will see today. But however, and these are all the system defined variables. I have not created any variable called workflow profile entities. It has been built by the system. So I should use a pipe symbols before and after. And if it is a user defined variable, let's say if it is a parameter, okay, so we should use along with the pipe symbols two exclamatory symbols even before and after also. That is a structure of the variable, how the variable have to be referred in the document or QBOs with a, if it is a user defined, if it is a user defined parameter, then we will use it exclamatory symbol also additionally. If it is a system defined, okay, let's say this is actually system defined, right? So what I will do is I will change it to test entities, okay, as a custom. Assume that it's a custom. And if it is system defined, these exclamatory symbols are not needed, okay, only pipe symbol should be enough. So otherwise what will happen? See, earlier what I have done, I have not given this. So system assumes that this is one of the member in the dimension and we don't have any member called WF profile entities. Okay, that's where system is throwing at an error message. Even that also it is not recognizing, which means there is something called WF profile entities. So let me see the variable description. There is any such design document. Somewhere we should get here only, but we are not getting. It is coming. Okay, my bad. We should use under which root.wf file entities. Okay, that's where. And this exclamatory, I mean the pipe symbols also, they are not there in the syntax. Let's see if it gets or not. Yes, it is. Okay, somewhere the syntax issues. Why this is not coming in the member filter tab is somewhere it is there, but we are not following it exactly what it is there. We are not searching it seems. Workflow time period, workflow, somewhere it is there. Okay, variables, under the workflow profile entities. Did you find anything? There's a huge list. That's where we don't have a search option for these functions. That's very bad actually. We don't have any search function. We have to scroll down like this manually. Otherwise, search it in the document. We have a design document, right? All these functions will get description or some theoretical content with respect to variables in the design document. That's where I simply jump down to this and then searched it. When you use this member filter, the expression returns all the entities associated with the workflow unit. You see here, I am getting all the entities which are corresponding to my workflow, which is called India. So here my workflow is India. So only the India entities are getting displayed. Okay, so where it picks up, it will pick up from the entity assignment tab. If I am in Australia workflow, let's say, let me change this to Australia. Did we assign any entities there? We don't have. Let me assign quickly the entities for Australia workflow. So we have Australia workflow now. We don't have the data, but let's run it once. You see now Australia dot Sydney and Melbourne automatically changes that. Technically in the backend you will maintain only single QBO. However, you will have the dynamically bring the members. Okay, that is where the workflow profile entities. Any questions in the member expansions? Now we'll jump on to the mathematical expressions between rows and columns. So there are plenty of examples are there. There's no limit to discuss. Even the 10 days also we can just discuss only on the filter side, but we may not use all of them. Whatever we mostly use it, I have explained you explore it. Okay, so we have any such option, definitely there will be. You have to read this document to attend the interview. There's no other options. Okay, so somewhere around 1,000 pages are there, around 1,100 pages. Don't scare by looking at the page. Set for at least one chapter for a day and you will easily crack it. Okay, 20 pages, hardly out of 20 pages most of them will be like pictures or something like this. Okay, so 20 pages can be completed in a single day. Okay, now let us go with the mathematical expressions. I will go back to India workflow again. Okay, we'll change the QB also. Let's say this is my scenario. I will put it yes hash actual. Okay, or else I will put a time rather than scenario because we don't have a budget data, right, to perform any calculations. Let's say 2022 M1. Okay, we'll first hardcode the entity, hardcode the member here, and then otherwise later on we'll change it current period minus prior period. So dynamically can also call the variables. Okay, so we will use POV prior one, something like that. We'll talk about. First we'll hardcode the members, and I will change the column name also CM. In this case I'm changing it just to show you. Okay, need not to change it mandatorily. You can use the default names also. So current month I'm putting as a CM. You can also put a description also. Let's say rather than putting like this current month, you can give like this. Okay, so I'm putting a short names CM. Add one more column called PM prior month. Okay, and 2021 M12 prior month is M12 December, right? Okay, and then third column we'll put it as a variance. Okay, and we need to do the mathematical expression here. Okay, and what I need to do is to run the mathematical expression. We use only one function which is called a get data cell. Okay? We use only one function which is called a get data cell. There is a function called a get data cell that performs the mathematical calculations. Okay, and then get data cell of what you need to do. And remember always when you are performing your calculations, okay, and your column 1 has a time dimension, your column 2 has a time dimension. However, I am not placing any dimension here, but still you need to choose the dimension type as a time only. Remember, because you have the other two columns where you are performing mathematical expression between those columns, right? So they are having a time. So you need to have a the 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 custom calculated column also must be the same dimension type. Okay, get data cell of cm plus q. Okay, you can see the syntax here. Okay, sorry, cvr cvc. I will tell you, cvc is nothing but cube column, and cvc again, because we are doing a column expressions, right? I will copy this into notepad so that you can see in a bigger font. What I'm trying to do here is get data cell to perform calculation. Between what I'm performing calculation, CM and PM. These are the column names. System will not understand whether it is a column or row. Okay, unless you define another function called a CVC is nothing but a cube column. If it is a row, CVR we will call it as. Okay. So there are two sub functions. One is called CVR and CVC. Okay, cube row and cube column. So that function I'm placing it CVC of current month. This is a column name. If you don't maintain your own custom names, like normally system brings in COL1, COL2, right? I will normally call them as a COL1 here. Okay, if you're not maintaining any custom names for column headers. So in this case only we use the column names as a reference. Okay, and then save it, run it once, January, February, and we don't have a data in the December 2021. That's where, so let's say 6 million minus 0, 6 million, same amount is getting displayed. However, let's say I want to change this column header also. Here it is showing January, but February. Here I want to say variance. I want to change the header of the column as a variance. Okay. So here this header is just a column reference name. Okay. It will not display in the cube view. Remember, it will only just to perform the calculations in the back end, these names. Okay. But whereas if I want to display any other custom names on the column, okay, so then put a column, there is a name function, we can use it, dot name, and then give variance. Okay? And if there is any space between, let's say sometimes the custom header can have a space. Okay, let's say I want to give total, any name. Okay, total calculated amount or something, calc amount. Assume that this is my header. In this case there are spaces in between the header. I need to put a double quote before and after. Okay, I need to place my double quote before and after. But in this case, since it is only variant without any space in between, right? Without double quote also, I can give the header. Okay, so let's say variance is my column header. It will display the header as a variance. Okay, dot sorry, colon, we will use it to separate any field, one field with another. Okay, so we will use the colon. So remember, we have used dimension separator colon also. Let's say in my column 1 earlier, so here we have used s hash actual, right? So here also we use the colon. Colon is the separator between one field with another. Okay, so here in this case we are using, one is a calculated field and another field is a name field, custom header field. That's where name function will be used. Okay, you can see column name subtotal. And even if you give double quote also, there's no wrong in it. Okay, it's unnecessary time waste. Double quotes will only require if the space is there in between that name. Okay, otherwise it is not needed. Clear now? And let's say I can perform all these kind of calculations like variance, get data cell variance of column 1 comma column 2, get data cell variance percentage of column 1 comma column 2, get data cell divide of column 1 comma column 2. Okay, so these are all the options we have to get it. Okay, so it will throw out an error message because column 2 does not have any data, so obviously it will divide with a 0. So 0, if you divide anything, what will happen? Nothing will be displayed, right? I think it, let's run it once. Error, simple. Okay, because system will not display like infinity or something. it will display as an error because there's no logic. We don't have a data in the other column. So let's perform the similar calculations in the row wise. Okay, we will have some data there, right? I have deleted that. Go here and we'll put as a base. Okay, and I will add one more called a hash net income dot base. Okay, so first you will get a net income and then base also will come, right? So now I can put a multiple naming, multiple custom headers in the column, in the rows. See here in this case, what will happen is you will get a net income first column and then all the base in the second, first row net income, and then all the other ones are base members. So I want to give my own header for the net income. Okay, though it is a single row, I can put a column there, name colon net space income. Okay, or net revenue, we'll put a different name, otherwise you will get a confusion. Okay, so since it has a space in between, you need to use a double quote. And then let's say this is not my base, I will, for the time being, I will use in inctax. Okay, I can use another custom header for this, name income tax, since it has a space in between also, will push. So multiple name functions can be used to define the description of individual member when we are placing everything in the single row. Okay, save it and then run it now. You see here, net space revenue, income space tax. Okay, so if you have another member, you can put comma, a hash others is your member name, right? ODHGRS, put a column, name column other revenue. Okay, space, run it. So likewise it will display. So multiple members with their own custom descriptions can be given within the same row. Okay, and or else I can also split it. If you want to perform mathematical expressions, then first approach we will use this to split them into a different columns. Okay, let me split it, and then here I will split this into, so now I have three rows in three separate individual rows, right? Three members in separate. Here it is net income, and here it is income tax, here it is others, right? And then I want to perform the mathematical expression here. Okay, let's first, I will do, let me get the other member where there is a data. I will remove this also. Okay, where is the other? INCBEF tax, it has the data, right? So that's where we want the members which has the data to perform mathematical expression. That's where I wanted to bring that, because others does not have the data. INCBEF tax. Okay, name before tax, we have a net income. Okay, so we have altogether three rows. One is net income, one is income tax, one is before tax. All are having the data. Okay, so now why I'm using only those three? Because it has the data. The other members, it does not have the data. So to perform calculations, we need members which has the data so that we can see the results right now. Otherwise, we need to have a data loaded again. So now I want to create a fourth column where my dimension type must be account only, because the other three rows are accounts only. But remove this, get data cell of CVR of, what is the names? We are not changing any row names here, right? Row 1 plus CVR of row 2 plus CVR of row 3, and then at the first also, after get data cell, there is one function, one bracket. I'll close it, and then you can also put a custom name of subtotal. Okay, just for the time being, don't ask why you are putting only subtotal. Okay, so here intention to perform the calculations, how to perform it. You see here, subtotal. Okay, and when the member has an expansion function, Okay, see right now it does not have any expansion function. Every individual row has its own specific member itself, right? Let's say here I have a dot children. Have a dot children. Okay, and among those children only I want to perform some mathematical expression. Okay, so let's say I will remove these other two rows. Okay, even the fourth one also I will remove it. Now we have a expansion function, isn't it? And then when we have expansion function, you should not use this kind of custom headers, because all the members will get the same header called net income, net revenue. So remove that. So now I have some expansion functions here. In the technically backend, every member has a single row itself. There is no multiple rows here, right? We have only added one row, but however expansion function has been used. But in this list I want to perform some mathematical expression, so we will have a member reference numbers. We will use the member reference numbers in this case. So if you look at this document, you see here CVR row 11 comma 2, row 11 comma 3, row 11 comma 18. These 2 3 18 are the reference numbers. Okay, so if when we use this number, system automatically has a reference numbers in the backend. The first one will be 1 2 3 4 5 reference numbers. We will use it and then do the summation. Now I wanted to sum second and third one. Okay, so let's go here, add a additional row, and here we will not have anything. Let's say get data cell of CVR of row 1 comma, we are not closing that function CVR right now. We are using comma 2. That is a reference number within the same row 1. We have a row 1 only. In that row 1, we have multiple expansion members. Among them only we are performing calculation. Okay, plus CVR of row 1. Row 1 is your name of the row, comma 3. Okay, so which means reference number 2, reference number 3, whichever having in the member list, we are summing those two and displaying them in your custom header called, let's say, subtotal. Okay, I can put like this, save it, run it. You see now subtotal, these two getting added and displaying here. Okay, remember how to call them. Even see the same thing I can apply for columns also. Remember, I am just telling you with the row wise, you can apply the columns also. CVC, then column name, comma 15 18, whatever the reference numbers. Okay, so if I have, let's say here, base members instead of children, huge list will be there for base, right? So you need to count it from the beginning. So that count you need to do it manually. System will not assume which member I should use it in the custom calculation. So let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 ninth reference. Okay, 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. So 9 and 16 you need to put it here if you want to calculate it. 9 and 60. So you can, I'm just adding only two. You can add as many as like that. At the top, at the bottom, you will see subtotal with those two additions. Okay. So now, likewise, we have plenty of examples have been given. So try to explore there. And how to call the time dimension filters with the dynamic. You can use this POV, which means current point of view member, and POV prior one, which means prior month, POV prior 2, prior 3, prior 4, prior 5, up to prior 11, we can use it. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to place here dynamically POV, okay, save it, and then here I wanted to call POV prior 1. Okay, prior 1 means one period back. It displays the same thing, January, December. Okay, so which means we are referencing from this POV the dimension member. If I want to refer, because workflow also has the scenario and time dimension fields, isn't it? So if I wanted to call them, then I should use POV WF. Sorry, T hash WF. It will get automatically the corresponding period from a workflow. Okay, so we have all these kind of dynamic variables. So sometimes what will happen is So you have to compare the data between current month and then prior year December, right? Whenever you are copying the data from prior year December to current period, so you will have to use the POV prior year M12. We can use it. Okay, let's say POV prior year M12. So POV means current month, current year 2022. Prior year means it will go to 2021, and then M12 will be bringing. So we are changing in column 1. So your column 1 should get now 2021 December. You see here December 2021. So likewise there are a lot of variables. Okay, so we cannot even conclude even in another 2 more sessions also if we start discussing everything. So try to explore it all of them. Okay, clear now? Any questions so far?
Yeah, so in the columns, right, we have hard coded with CM and PM. So for the syntax CVC, we used CM as, right?
CM,
So
yeah.
instead, also we can refer column 1, column 2, right?
No, if we if we do not change the name of this column, then we need to use the column 1 and column 2. Otherwise, no.
Okay, okay.
So now only we can use it. Okay, because we didn't change, we reverted back. If you would have changed your own custom names, then you're not supposed to use column 1 and column 2.
Okay, we should use only the
Custom names.
names. Okay.
Yeah.
And one more foolish question, I'm not sure that. So can we subtract CVC minus CVR?
Yeah, you can. All mathematical expressions. I've just shown you summation because of
Okay.
out of time. Okay.
Yeah,
You can do.
so what I'm asking is, so I want to subtract from column 2 data one cell with a row. So is it possible? Right?
No.
Okay, okay.
No, you cannot.
Okay, that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let's quickly go with these options. Very short period, another 5 minutes max will take it to finish it up. Okay, so formatting, we know already, we have seen in the general settings for entire form wise. Rather, if you want to put your own formatting for a separate header, okay, we have a formatting for a header, formatting for the cell. Okay, and you can apply it. Let's say if I want to click on this, and you will get a conditional formatting, you will get a normal formatting. So normal formatting will have all these options. Okay, whether to apply background colors, whether to apply text color, whether to apply bold fonts or something, any type of things can be given here. Okay, and let's say if I wanted to text color will be something different color, will be using it. Okay, so you can just save it. I'm not going through each and every option, however you can explore it. It is as similar as your formatting options in Hyperion, sorry, in Excel itself. Okay, but only thing is you need to go and update it. Okay, so we have plenty of options here. And then indentation, sometimes what will happen is, you see here, okay, let me revert it back. For the time being, I will put this as a hash ANC tags. Okay, only 2 members I'm taking it. So both will come in the left extreme side, right? So I can change this, the indentation options for the second one. Let's say this one, I want to display 0. 0 means left extreme side in the cell. And for the row 2, I will put 2 spaces or 4 spaces, whatever the way you wanted to display, you can display it, the number of indentation spaces. You see now the bigger space came in between. So after 4 spaces, the second member is getting displayed. Okay, so by ideally it will be 0 by default. So here only in the header level itself we can see, if I put 0, it will come both in the same position. If I put 4, you see it is jumping 4 spaces and display row 2. Okay, if I put a 9, it is displaying like this. Okay, so you can understand here itself, that is called indentations. And cell formatting, header format we have seen. Cell formatting also with the same way, we can apply the same thing, background colors, text colors. Okay, and when you export the you see here the formatting will be different. Like if I export into an Excel, what should I display the formatting colors? So we have Excel formatting colors here, and we have a reporting format colors. Let's say we have a report button, right? PDF format report can be generated. So what formatting I should apply to report format? And these are the generic options, means in the data explorer page, what formatting settings I should apply, I can give it. Okay, so all can be given here. Okay, number format, scaling factor, flip sign, show currency, obviously this will be used. Okay, when we have a data, so obviously sometimes in the cell level show currency will be displayed, so that my currency for a corresponding entity. Oh, okay, we change this to January. You see here INR will be displayed. Why it is not displaying for it? Because we did only for a single row. Okay, not for all the rows. Normally you will do it at the common properties for all the rows. If you want to do the common properties for all the rows, just select the top left corner. Like normally in Excel, if you want to select all the rows, you will click here, right? The same way, if you want to apply the formatting for all the rows and all the columns for the entire body of the form, so rather than clicking an individual column or form, you click on this default one, and then you will have a formatting options here. This layout only you are seeing it here, right? You can see formatting, cell format, header format. Go to the cell format, and then here also we can apply. So data explorer text, data explorer border, cell Excel text, Excel border, report text, report border. Because we have three types of options to run the QBO, right? Data explorer, Excel, report. So I wanted to change this format to data explorer page. I can display show currency to true. Okay, so now the entire form wise my currency will be displayed. Okay, so that is the formatting options we have. And then data wise, so cell type can modify data if individual row wise or column wise also. We will be enabling or disabling, but by default system will bring them enable as a true. And cell type, so normally this will be used by the FP&A team, like smart list option will be there in the Hyperion, right? Sometimes a drop down list will come like employee type, whether it is regular or contractual employee. You don't have to type it, rather you have to select it. So those kind of options we will use it as a combo box. And we will use a parameter with a list of fields to be displayed in the form. So I will talk this about in the parameters section one more time. Okay, we will create a parameter with a list of values and will be displayed here, so that a drop down list will come in the form rather than inputting it. Let's say if this is input, so instead of inputting the data, a drop down list will come. That we call it as a smart list in Hyperion. Okay, so that options, normally you will have a use default. Okay, so which is called a text box. Okay, so default is nothing but a text box. So there, if it is editable cell, a blank text box will come, and then you can edit it. Whereas if I put a combo box, then edit option will not allow. You need to select it from a drop down. And if it is a combo box, parameter have to be assigned, because where should it assume the values, right? You cannot type the values here. You need to create a parameter with a list of values and assign the parameter here. Okay, and reporting navigation links also we have seen in the at the general settings, but here we have a individual row wise or column wise linked cube views, everything. We can link one specific row or column, okay, rather than putting it at a general level. Okay, we have seen already all the options, but however individual row wise or column wise we are talking about. So individual row wise or column wise separation options are there. Okay, so sharing, again the same thing, rather than putting uh, common sharing for all the rows and columns. If you want to see individual, first you need to put here in the general settings specific rows. Okay, then system will enable here, and then only we can assign it. Okay, and overrides is the final option. So let's say my entire column one is having a YTD numbers, because at the POV level you have fixed as a YTD, right? But for some columns or some rows, you want to replace with any other intersections. Okay, let's say my column 2 has displayed with the periodic data. Okay, you can apply the overrides. Somebody was asking, can we apply overrides? Yes, all the POV intersections can be overridden. But when we are at a column level, row overrides can be applied. When we are at a row level, column overrides can be applied. You see here, my cursor is at a column level, row override option is enabled. When we are at a row wise, column override option is enabled. Okay, let's say I want to apply the overrides on this column for a specific row, then I will go here. Okay, put a row 1. Now we are applying at a row column level for individual row. So that's where row 1 I have put in, and then member filter v hash periodic, periodic, correct. Okay, or else you can type the members by, you can select the members also by going into the edit option, but since we know the member name, we're typing it. And let's right click here, go to the POV intersection and look at here. V is YTD. Why? Okay. We applied only to column 2, not to column 1. Okay, so here we need to right click and look at here, periodic. Okay, so normally you should apply for all the columns if you want to apply. So for specific column, so you need to right click on that specific column only to apply it. Clear? So likewise, we have individual row wise, multiple, since we have a row 2. So let's say row override 2 you can apply, or you can also put a range here. This is an example they have given, row 3 comma row 7 minus row 9. If you want to put a range, let's say I have a 10 rows, all 10 rows I want to apply, we can put like this. Okay, so row 1 plus row 2. So right now what will happen is, if I right click on the same second column and the row 2, it will be YTD only, because we have applied only for row 1 filter, right? Row 1 override. So now I changed it to row 2 also. Just run it once, and wherever you see that, it will be periodic now. Okay, any questions? And parameters we didn't discuss, wherever the parameter is applicable. Okay, I have already talked about here. Theoretically we can apply the parameter. See, I want to give a prompt for the user to display while running the form what all entities the report should run it. Okay, and where I did this, I have created a parameter with the list of the members called entity in India entities or something. The parameter name has been given like this, don't get confused. Okay, and you can give any name. Let me revert these changes. What happened? Okay. And parameter has, yesterday also I have shown you, and parameter has a list of values under the dashboard. Parameters will be created under the dashboards. Put a parameter filter, search it, you will understand. You see here India.treat incidents inclusive has been given. This is a member dialog box with a default member as a Bangalore. That's where when we run the QBU, it is getting displayed a default value as a Bangalore, and it's a dialog box, right? So we have getting a member dialog box where I can select it. Okay, so parameter will be given always as I explained you here. It's a custom parameter. That's where I've used exclamatory symbols along with the pipe symbols here. Okay, see, exclamatory symbols along with my pipe symbols. So parameter will be used like this everywhere, but we will have a session on the parameters also. There will be a lot of discussion will be there. Hope you understand now. Okay, so that's all for the QBUs. Let us know. We spent enough time because a lot of examples, lot of requirements may coming in the QBU creations in the live environment. Okay, that's where we spent 2 days, especially the member filters, because member filters are very much needed. Unless you have some working knowledge, you will not understand all of them. Though it is similar to Hyperion, but in the Hyperion we hardly see only treaties and children or base or something like predefined ones. But these are like custom options like dot remove, dot list, dot base, and then we can put multiple things, where clauses, all these things will not be applicable, right? So that is where we spend enough time on it. Okay, any questions, or is it clear everything? Lot of information, I know. Okay, so if no questions, then that's all for today, and we will meet on Tuesday. Okay, next session will be on Tuesday.
All right.
Okay, and happy Pongal to everybody. We'll see you. Bye.
Yeah, we should say.
We should be saying. Thank you.